All right. Hey guys, how you doing? Um, so just wanted to jump into a little bit about my journey with the team so far. Um, I've only had my license for just over 2 years now, April of 22, and I've had the pleasure of only being on this team. So definitely a big benefit to not having to unlearn a lot of things that I've heard through friends and other people that are in the industry that they may have struggled with. I've always had Andrew as a mentor, so it's been pretty good. Just not having the negative stuff to get rid of, in a sense. Um, Before real estate, I worked in restaurants, and then after working in restaurants, so a lot of customer service stuff. I opened up my own Chipotle when I was like 23, and then left that industry and went into engineering and did a lot of work for SpaceX. And so a lot of different stuff throughout my career, and now real estate. And so a lot of that has taught me how to be very personable. I've always worked closely with a lot of people. I love talking to people. I'm very personable. And I think that helps go a long way with meeting clients. Um, but so I've been doing this for about 2.5 years, and like I said, a lot of great training from Andrew and the rest of the team members. One of the strongest things I could say about this industry and the success that I've had is just being humble and letting other people on the team guide you and teach you new things. Um, for me, it was easy because I didn't know much. I still don't know a lot. I'm still learning every day, every appointment that I go on or every escrow that I'm in. It's tough because each time is like something new. You think you kind of know everything, and at the same time, something new pops up that you didn't think about or that you just forgot about. And a lot of that comes back to the training with Andrew and hitting these boot camps and getting those refreshers on a lot of the stuff that you may have already done, but doing it again months later or whatever it may be definitely is a good refresher for staying up to date on the things that you may have missed or just kind of simply forgotten. A couple of the things that I struggled with in the beginning, I was definitely way too friendly with people, not in a bad way. I just wanted to treat them more of like we're friends instead of, hey, I'm working for you and I can get this job done for you. That set me back a lot in the beginning because I was just too nice. I never asked for an offer. I never bam fammed anyone. And I got the occasional escrow. I think I did six in my first from I jumped in full time on October of 2022. So from October to December, I think I did 4 deals, and then two from April to August. So six in my first you know 6 months or so. But a couple of those were just lucky ones. Like my very first client was just someone who was ready to buy a house, and it was one of my very first times showing a client, and we saw three homes, and they clicked with me very well, but I had no idea what I was doing. But we got him in escrow, we closed, everything was great. But struggling to bam bam and struggling to ask for the offer, part of that of me being too nice and friendly with people. I didn't want them to think that I was just some salesman who wanted to get a commission, and I didn't know how to do that. I didn't know how to ask for that stuff without seeming like that person, who was just a slimy salesman. So I got past that, and people want to be led. That's for sure. They want you to they want you to tell them things. They want you to guide them. They want you to ask them for that offer, because if you're not going to ask, then they're probably not going to give you the invite to be like, hey, like we want this house. Especially if it's a first meeting, you will have those occasional times when you meet these Zillow clients that are just like, we like you, we're ready to write the offer, but they're not going to outwardly say that to you because they just met you. So definitely it goes along with what Andrew said in the training today. Ask for that offer, set up the bam bam in the house, do all the steps. That's just how I learn everything here, is just letting the team and Andrew guide me. And be myself, but also being more of a leader now than I was in the beginning of my start here. And what else did I struggle with in the beginning? Just being too friendly, never asking for an offer, never wanted to bam bam. Um, One thing I learned that was great from Andrew was learn to preempt everything, which he did also talk a little bit about today in the meeting. But every time I meet with a client now, when I know it's getting a little more serious and we are writing offers and we're getting to that point of like, this is probably going to get an escrow. After knowing the house that they're going to be going under contract in, always try to preempt that whatever you can, really. Preempt the inspection, let them know that they shouldn't stress about the little things. There's going to be things wrong with the house. I always try to talk about, I use an example of like even brand new homes get inspections, brand new builds, and they will find things wrong with those brand new homes. So use that to your advantage. Find some inspection report from a brand new build and bring that with you as something you can show the client. Like, look, this is a brand new house built in 2024. Here's the things wrong with it. It's probably going to be nothing major, little loose fixtures, things like that, and let them know not to stress over the little things. If there are major things in the house that need to be fixed or addressed, let them know that you're there for them and that you're going to do whatever you can to get the seller to pay for those items, or at least give you a credit, cover some of your closing costs, buy your rate down. Things like that go a long way, but at the same time, you have to let them know that the seller is not obliged to do anything. Everything in California is sold as is. So letting them know ahead of time and just having them expect to see things on the inspection report definitely helped me out big time. That goes back to what I was saying about things that I didn't do in the beginning that definitely help out now. Another thing I'd like to chat about is, so here's a good one that every time I talk to someone about this, or if they bring it up to me, the struggle to fam people when they raise objections to it. A lot of times people will just kind of nod their head or say, sure, like we can meet next week, whatever. But sometimes you get the people that go, when can you meet next? Are you good for next Saturday or Sunday? And they go, oh, well, I got to check my schedule, or, oh, I don't know yet. I'm on call and this, that, the other. So one quick way to get around that is just simply say, look, I get it. We're all busy. You may not know your schedule ahead of time right now. Half the time, I don't even know my own schedule. Make it relatable. And then just say, look, I'm going to pencil you in for Saturday at 12. I typically use the same time that I'm there with them on the spot or at that time. So if it's Sunday at noon, I'll just say, look, I'm just going to pencil you in for Sunday at noon. I don't know what my schedule is going to be, but at least right now, that's where I have you slotted in. If anything's going to change, just feel free to call or text me. We can absolutely change it. But at least for now, I've got you guys penciled in because I'm going to find you a home. I'm committed to helping you guys find a home. So that's worked for me. And I've never had anyone go, no, don't do that, because who would? Like, that's just odd. So that's definitely helped with the Bam Fam process. And I think everyone here knows what that means by now, but it's book a meeting from a meeting. So that was definitely very helpful because I struggled with Bam Fam for a long time, and Andrew would use me as an example sometimes. And I was on the team for a while, and I kept asking in every meeting, like, how can I Bam Fam better? How can I Bam Fam better? And he just got pissed and was just like, just do it, So figured out how to just do it, and now it's working fine. So if you ever want to chat more about how to do that properly and do it confidently, then feel free to text or call me or meet me in the office. I'll be glad to help you out with that. Never leave your clients without asking for the offer. We talked about that. And then objection handling. A lot of times people will raise objections about anything really. And I know we've gone over this a ton of times, but I guarantee a ton of people still just kind of nod and agree with the client at that point. But you have to let them get it out, like Andrew said today, and let them know you completely understand, and use that while method. The pre-qualification one's the biggest one for, bam-bamming everything, why they don't want to meet you again, and just use that to segue into your financial friend. So if they don't want to meet again, I completely understand. Everyone wants to know what they afford. Why would you look at houses when you can't, you know what you can buy? While we're doing that, I've actually got a friend here. Segue yourself into the three-way phone call. While. So it just helps ease into that next meeting that you're going to have with these people. And at the same time, you're going to get a financial call out of it and see what they can afford on the spot. At least get a pre-call. Um, Lastly, checking out your insights. That's a big one. Something that I still struggle with. Not so much the insights, but doing my updates, and while I'm updating, reaching out to clients. Just because I don't do it perfectly doesn't mean I can't talk about it and help you guys get better at it. Every time you see that you have a client update, more than likely they probably looked at homes sometime in the last month or so. Just grab any one of those homes, or at least a home that's in the general area that they were looking. And when you, instead of just hitting that update button, just copy and paste that link, shoot it over to them in a text or through ZPA, and just say, hey, was thinking about you, saw this great home. What do you think about it? Try to get a conversation started, especially if it's someone that you haven't talked to in a while. I feel very hesitant to reach out to people that I feel like I may have dropped the ball with. And that's something that I'm still actively trying to get better at, because I'm making up all these things in my head about, oh, they probably don't want to talk to me. They probably already moved on to another agent. I'm giving myself excuses to not reach out to the person. And that definitely slows down production for myself, because if I just simply reach out to them in a text or give them a call, send them a property, most of the time they're very friendly still, and they reach back out and say, hey, we haven't heard from you in a while. Thank you so much for reaching out. Or they'll just simply say, yeah, the house looks great. Or no, I'm not looking anymore. And that can still lead into more conversation of like, well, why'd you stop looking? Oh, well, we figured out that we don't have enough money for the down payment. We figured out that we don't qualify for the amount that we thought we did. That's when you also can just jump back into the conversation of, well, there's a lot of programs and a lot of things we can do to help you with that. I can get the seller to pay for things. There's endless possibilities to try and get them back into the mindset of looking at homes and finding a home for themselves. Talk about the advantages of owning versus renting, because most of the time when people think that they can't afford something, they jump straight into rentals. And then just talk to one of our people on the financial team about the cost benefits of owning versus renting. I don't have all those facts in my head right now, but I can kind of do it in person or over the phone if I've got my notes in front of me, and just kind of get them back on track to seeing the light a little bit for purchasing instead of renting. But yeah, I'm gonna open the floor to any of you guys if you have questions, or just want to chat to me about anything that you may be struggling with, or if you want to ask me about anything personal that I do or that I struggle with and how I've overcome it, or something that I'm still working on, please feel free to reach out right now.
All right. How are you doing today? It's Michael G.
What's up, Michael?
It's all good, brother. So I have a few questions just based off of the information you did share with us, starting from the beginning of the video. Is that okay?
I'm gonna lean in a little bit because I can barely hear. Let me see if I can turn the volume up.
But on me too. Can you hear me okay?
Okay, go ahead. Yep.
Okay, great. So I'm going to ask you questions based off what you've already shared with us at the beginning of the video, all right?
Okay.
All right. So you mentioned that you started doing things different with your client. So I have three questions regarding that shift in your business. First question is, how did your verbiage change when you were speaking to clients being less friendly and more of a leader?
I don't know if I would say so much that my verbiage changed. I think it's more of a physical thing. I acted more confident in the way that I was just acting around them. Probably less, it actually wasn't less of anything. It was more just asking for like the things I mentioned about, instead of just being like, hey, it was great to meet you, shake their hand and be friendly with them. Then when I was leaving a meeting or when I was in a house, I started doing the things that Andrew told me to do. talk to them about the house. What did they love? What did they hate? What did they rate the house out of 10? I don't leave appointments now without asking people how they felt about the house, or if this is something they can see themselves living in, and what they feel the house is worth to them. If they get to that point of like, yeah, we love the place. Okay, tell me a number that you would buy this house for. Before it was just like, I kind of just would freeze and leave the meeting without a bam fam, without asking them for the offer. So I'd say that's how that changed dramatically.
So you just started following more of our, like the Warburton system. You applied it and you kind of got out of your own way and just let the system take over, right? Pretty much.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, I don't think I'm teaching anything new here. I think it's nice to just hear it from an agent's perspective per se, instead
Right.
of hearing it from Andrew. But yeah, definitely just follow the training. It works.
So to add to that question and kind of snowball the next one, how did you start separating your commonality since you're such a people's person uh, and having actual rapport with these clients?
Say it one more time. Sorry.
So how did you separate your commonality and turn that into rapport since you are such a people's person?
So that just comes down to trying to lead the client a little bit. Um, I'm still very much a people person, and I think it just comes off as genuine the way I speak to them now, instead of just being smiley and friendly. Um, you know, I don't know. It's hard to look at yourself and see what you've changed, really.
Right.
It's more of a, it's kind of like an in-person feeling. Um, I'll have to think about that one.
All right, cool. My other question would be, how do you usually go in to ask for an offer? Like, what's your top three situations you constantly find yourself in that someone is at that you're asking someone, hey, do you want to submit an offer on this home? Like, do you roll into it? Do you have a conversation, your go-to first couple of lines before you land on the offer? How do you usually go about it to make it seem natural and just flow and not sound like you have commission breath, you know?
So I'll use an example on one of my last showings. First time meeting the client, followed the steps, was going through the buyer packet with them a little bit and talking about the homes presented and the score sheet. So the score sheet helps a lot easing into that offer conversation, because I use that as a kind of like a little joke with them. Like, look, if you guys write a 7 on this paper, you don't have a say in the matter. I'm going to write an offer for you on the house. So be very sure that you want to write an offer. I'll use that sometimes, and they'll kind of just laugh and blah blah blah. And sometimes, they'll kind of use that to their advantage to not write a 7 on a house, because they know that I'm gonna pressure them, not pressure them, but I'm gonna talk to them about writing an offer on the house.
Something, right?
So yeah, you just kind of go back to that score sheet, and we'll compare notes. And if they do have the 7s on the house, then I'll just start the conversation there. Like, look, I see you wrote a 7 here. Remember our previous conversation about me writing an offer for you on anything 7 or above? How do you guys feel about this house? And if you were to write an offer, what number would you come in at? Do you feel the price that it's listed at is where it should be? And that usually leads them into asking me what I think the house is worth. But in the end, it comes down to what they do. I come prepared though. I have my 30,000 foot view of the homes in the neighborhood. Look, these 10 sold above asking price, these 5 didn't. We can always ask for whatever price you guys think the house is worth. But if you're serious about the house and you want to get it accepted, here's what I recommend. But it's absolutely up to you. So I let them know that it's their choice of what they want to offer for a house. But at the same time, I'm not going to sugarcoat it and be like, yeah, you're going to get this house if you offer 580 and it's listed at 650.
Right.
I'll never deny them the chance to write an offer. If they just want to see how it goes, sure, I'll write that lowball offer, and then at least I know I did my homework and I told them what the house is probably going to sell for, and that way they're not going to blame me when the offer doesn't get accepted.
Right.
So there's a lot of different situations that lead into asking them to write an offer. If I don't have a score sheet on hand, like sometimes I'll just take a last minute appointment. I'm out of buyer packets. I'll just get a couple sheets of paper out, or have us do it on our phones. That
Mhm.
way they're still scoring the houses in some way or another. And I always kind of just go back to that score sheet. It's a huge benefit because it opens the door for having to ask that question of, do you want to write an offer on this house? Because you've already preempted it. So it's already in their minds. It's not hard to talk about writing an offer when almost immediately when you meet them, you let them know that you're prepared to write an offer for them and that you're going to eventually.
Using the scale system, right?
Yes.
Gotcha.
So even if you don't have one, we all forget our buyer pack sometimes. Just figure out a way to still score the houses. Do it on your phone, grab a piece of paper, write it on your hand, whatever it is. And that way, even if they forget in the house, you're writing a 7 on your hand while you're in there. You can see they like the house. You're kind of doing that thing where you're listening to them talk around the house and you're not hearing a whole lot of negative things. You can be like, hey, like this house is pretty great. Like I personally scored this one an 8 out of 10. What did you guys feel? Where did you guys come in at? And then they're going to be like, oh, well, we feel it's probably this number. They probably won't tell you that they didn't write anything down or that they didn't score it. They're just going to give you a number of what they feel that they're thinking of right in that moment.
Right.
So that's pretty much how I go about asking for the offer.
Okay. That's
Hope
great.
I hope that helped.
It did. It did. I have a couple more questions. Does anybody else want to ask a question or can I just keep this going?
Just keep
I have
going.
a question.
Go ahead,
I
Ron.
have a question as well.
Okay,
Right on.
Hey, how you doing, Blake?
I'm good. Thank you.
Awesome. Hey, so my question is, so you know the driveway script that we're supposed to be using, everything that Andrew went through today. How do you get through all of that? I mean, there's a lot to be talking about right there at the driveway, right?
Right.
So how do you do that? How do you get past that?
So we haven't had to do the BRBC thing yet. So I'm not there yet. I'm not as good as Andrew is. He's the smoothest talker out of anyone in this building.
For sure.
And he acts like he's not good at it, which is infuriating because it makes the guy stuck even more. But it's I don't know. I guess it kind of just comes down to each individual moment. The second you walk up to a person, you kind of get that vibe of like, oh, this guy might be a jerk or he looks very friendly. I don't know. Definitely the first impression goes a long way with people. And when you come up confident with your buyer pack and you're going to sit there, shake their hand firmly, look them in the eyes and just tell them, look, I'm here to work for you. Let's get this done. Here's a bunch of stuff that I brought prepared for you. You can read this over later. I'm going to go through a couple things with you right now before we head inside the home. But I just wanted to go over a couple things about me and my team. That way you feel confident in me and my ability to show you this home and get you an offer accepted. So it's like an iteration of that with every client. Each time it's different though. I couldn't tell you exactly what I say. It's definitely an in the moment thing, but it's always some version of, what I just did there and being able to explain to the client each and everything that's in that packet quickly, because no one wants to stand out in front of the house for 20 minutes while you're just reading notes or, a bunch of pieces of paper. It definitely just comes down to like, let's get this job done. It's great to meet you guys. And here's how I'm going to help you. And here's my team. So,
Do you ever wait until you actually get in the house to start opening that buyer's packet to explain everything to them? You can have the conversation with them at the driveway. This is the team I work for. You're not alone, so forth and so on. But, it might get dragged on for a little bit and you might just lose them, right?
right.
I mean, we can always feel when you're losing them.
I almost never stand in the driveway for more than a couple minutes, like just getting acquainted, shaking hands. Sometimes I'll do the walk and talk thing. I always try to be there way ahead of time just because I've had clients that are at the house 15 minutes early and I'm now the one showing up unprepared.
Yeah.
So I'm always pretty much there 20 minutes plus early. That way I've already walked the house. I know, where I'm going to stand, how I'm going to talk to them and where I'm going to walk through with them and when I'm going to let them go off by themselves.
Right.
I'll usually check out a few places with them right when we meet and I'll kind of walk and talk and do a couple things. I'm not holding the folder in their face per se.
Sure.
I'm going through it myself and just kind of like stopping in each room, downstairs, whatever it is, and just going, check this out, check that out. This is how I'm going to help you.
Okay.
But yeah, the walk and talk and doing a little bit in the driveway. I mean, it's just a few minutes here and there. And
Right.
if I don't get it all done, or if they're, seem like that type of client that just wants to get in and out.
Yeah.
And you can't really get it all done in the house or in the driveway, I try to just do it quickly before we leave to the next house.
Sure.
Before they step into their car, just, hey, can I just go over a couple things with you real quick before we head off to this next great house?
Sure. While you're in the kitchen with them.
Yeah, in the kitchen or just heading out the hallway to the front door. Like, here's a couple things that I'd like to go over with you.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay. Thank you.
yeah, absolutely.
All right.
Vicky, Mrs. Starr, someone else said they had a question.
It was answered.
It was answered? Okay, perfect. What was the question you were gonna ask?
I was just wondering because I had a client right now that didn't want to move forward with the buying process because they needed down payment assistance.
Uh-huh.
And so I had been posting in Slack. And so one of the financial, David Leba, responded back to me and said they do have someone that could help with the 100% down payment.
Yeah, perfect. That just goes right into one of those conversations of like, look, I get it. I completely understand. While we're still browsing online for other homes, or if you're doing this in person, and if you have other homes lined up, while we're doing that, I'm going to get my financial friend on the phone. He's going to talk you through this and make you feel 100% comfortable about moving forward. Just give them some kind of confidence that we have the resources to help them, and we're going to get the job done for them.
So right now I'm texting him and I completely understand. I'm connecting you with my financial partner, David Leva. They have a ton of programs that cover 100% of the down payment. He's going to call you right now.
Yeah, and even go further into that and give them more assurance of any house that we, get under contract with, or any house that we move forward on. I'm going to try and do whatever I can to get the seller to pay for some of your closing costs as well, or potentially
Okay.
buy down your interest rate to save you some money.
Okay.
Let them know.
Say
It's not
that
a
to me
guarantee.
one more time so I can type it.
So just let them know that you'll do everything you can to get the seller to pay for some of their closing costs, all or some.
Okay.
But let them know at the same time, it's not guaranteed, but that you're going to work your ass off to try and get it done for them.
Okay. Got it. Thank you.
Absolutely.
I had a question. Tools.
Yes.
I have a laptop and I saw what Howard had, and I wanted to ask your opinion on should I run out and buy an iPad? Because if we're right there in the kitchen going over things quickly, I think an iPhone is too small, even though I have the Plus, and I think carrying my laptop doesn't make sense. Do you recommend for the kitchen review of the other two properties? Because you're going on the MLS, right?
Yeah.
And
Personally, I use a laptop. I don't have an iPad. And I'm not using my phone to show them other properties typically, but I will set up my laptop in the kitchen. And
okay, so that works. That works then?
Yeah, totally. I just connect it to my phone on a hotspot, or if you have one of those whatever receivers on your
I have
laptop.
hotspot. I have
somewhere.
hotspot. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Oh,
perfect.
okay.
You don't need to go out and buy an iPad. I mean, it's personal preference at that point. If you'd rather have a touch screen thing that they can kind of sit around and play with, but no, I use a laptop.
Okay. And then also, how they talk about having the offer already pre-populated. I mean, sometimes you only have a couple of hours. And I know, and I'm new, so I've only written up, I've written up offers before, but it feels like when I get home, it takes me an hour. I don't know if I'm
So-
slow or not, but I'm
Yeah,
just saying,
Get with our admin team on how to set up an offer template.
Yep.
It'll pre-populate everything onto the offer with your clients, and all you got to do is type in their name. Everything else is there, and then you got to type in, the terms, the purchase price, and seller
Yep.
credits and stuff like that. But for the
Yep.
most part, I mean, I can get an offer done in 5 minutes.
5 minutes. Okay. That's my goal.
I can sit there in the kitchen with them, open up my laptop, go to the address that's, the house that we're at, even if it's blank. I can type it in, use the MLS Connect. It'll input all the information. I just type in their name, and then
Property address.
ask him that'll auto populate in there.
Okay.
So if you use MLS Connect, it'll input all the information that's already in the listing. It'll automatically go into the offer. You don't have to type in anything except for your purchase price, client's name, and the terms you want to work with.
So I need to know how to use the MLS Connect then. Okay, good.
Yeah,
I don't think I know how to do that.
That's on the
I'm
forms.
familiar with the template. But I just need to make sure that it's thoroughly complete. Okay, okay,
Yeah, definitely reach out to Kathy for that one.
okay. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
So the key is filling out the cover sheet so it auto populates when you pull it up, right?
Right.
Okay.
So if
Um,
you're writing it, if you're about to submit or just start an offer and you go to new purchase or offer and zip forms, just grab the listing ID
Template.
off the MLS,
Yeah.
input that into the MLS Connect, and it'll auto populate everything for you.
So you put it in there, not on the cover sheet. You put it on the MLS part of it.
Yeah,
I've
I
done
just
that before.
there's an actual button when you're typing in a new listing.
Yep. For signees, the buyers, you put the buyers' names in it and
Yeah, you just
the
literally
MLS number. I get it. Okay, I remember
listing
that.
ID,
Okay.
and it'll do everything for you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Uh-huh.
Also, you talked about how you changed your personality from being very friendly to more confident. Somebody told me, act like you're a doctor, because they want to hear and be, they want to be told what are the next steps. You know, after hearing their concerns, doctor, my stomach hurts and this and that. A doctor, and to the agent, I'm looking for a 4-bedroom, 2-bath home. And then that's when our confidence comes in and saying, okay, you're looking in this area, I've got some great properties for you. Is that the confidence that you're talking about? Is that after we hear their needs and concerns, then we go into the confidence mode that we can find those properties for them? Is that what you switched?
Well, it comes down before that too. Going into each client meeting fully prepared. Before I just didn't do hardly any research on the home, on the area. I was blind going into it, and I went on a couple showings with Dominic when I was very new to this. You know, learned a couple things here and there, but you know, after a while and just doing it over and over again and listening to the trainings, going into meetings more prepared, knowing the area, what homes are selling for. And a lot of times you can just, if you don't have the time to do this, if it's not the day before and it's the day of, and you're kind of on a time crunch, the GoWP website is like really good for that stuff. Just type in, you know, you can scroll down, click on Redlands, and it'll give you a ton of reports, how many homes are listed, if they're selling above or below market, how many homes are rentals. It's got a ton of information, but just going in and having the necessary tools allows you to just kind of feel more confident anyway. So when it's in your buyer pack already and you've got the homes that are, you know, like I said, these 10 sold above, these 10 sold below, this is pretty even. What do you guys feel like you could, you know, offer on this house? But just being more prepared before even meeting the clients helped me feel more confident in meeting clients.
Okay.
I have a question.
Also, at the same time, still, I haven't changed my personality or anything. I'm still very friendly with clients, and I don't think that's ever going to change. I'm never going to be like a cold stone salesman. That's just not who I am. And I tell clients that I'm very forward with them, and I just tell them like, look, I'm not here to sell you a house. I have no affiliation with this house that we're looking at today or any of these homes that we're going to see. I rarely do listings, and my job is to just help you get into a home for the best price possible. Yeah, I say those things to clients. It just makes them feel a little more comfortable, I think, working with me. Michael, did you have another question?
I have a ton of questions, Blake. Every time it gets quiet, I'll shoot one out to you, all right?
All right, sounds good.
All right, so my next question is this. How do you follow up with like a hot lead versus one you know you have to nurture? What's the difference for you?
Not much actually. The nurture clients I kind of treat the same. I act as if they're always ready to buy. A lot of times when people tell you that thing of like, oh no, I'm gonna wait 6 months because of X, Y, and Z, whatever it is. And then they're still online looking at Zillow and browsing homes. So they're clearly still interested. I don't really treat the two very differently. I go online, I browse homes that they've been viewing or saving, and obviously sending the saved homes first. But if they haven't saved anything, I'll just take one or two of the homes that they've been viewing. And if it's in multiple areas, I'll send one from a few different areas and just ask them how they feel about this home, or, when do they want to see it. Yeah, so between nurture and hot clients, there's really not much of a difference. I kind of just treat everyone as hot. Because then sometimes you'll find those nurture clients that are just like, shit, like, this is a great house, we should go see it. And if you don't act like they're ready to buy now, you're not going to treat them like they're ready to buy now. So they're probably not going to want to get out there and see the home.
Right. They're gonna feel that, right?
Yeah. I mean, and I'm not perfect at this. I still have a lot of things to work on. Like I said, keeping up with my notes and my nurtures and stuff like that. Like, I just had to have a talk with Kathy this morning. She said that's definitely the one thing that I'm lacking is keeping up with my notes and my nurtures, and just reaching out to people constantly when, an update is due, and just sending them a home, doing a quick text, even just do a phone call if you're got nothing going on.
Right.
And just try to get a hold of the client. Do anything you can to get them reignited and, excited about seeing a house.
Okay. That brings me to my next question from that. How do you second attempt after dropping the ball?
So that's a loaded one, because it depends on how you drop the ball. I don't think I've really dropped the ball in a major way at this point to where I probably couldn't bring someone back. But there's the little ones where, like just recently I was showing someone else and the meeting was not going well. And it was a quick showing. I was in the office. They asked me to go to an appointment. I went to the appointment, showed up. The seller was still in the house. I think they were sleeping. There was no combo, so I'm knocking on the door. The client's outside standing behind me with his whole family. It's like 8 people.
Wow.
And it's just kind of awkward in that situation. Like, I don't know you, you don't know me, so I try to just chat with them. And also, there was a language barrier. I think only one of the whole family members spoke English.
Wow.
I don't think it was my client. So I'm having a conversation with the person outside while I'm waiting for the door to be open. At the same time, I'm calling the ICA for like, hey, what's the access to this house? So finally, someone answered the door, and I think the lady was sleeping inside. And then, I try to salvage what I can from there and just, let them see the house. But while I was in the house, I'll just be honest with you, while I was in that house, I was looking at other houses that I could show them in the area. And we're in a single story house, and I'm looking at a 2-story house. And I think I said like, oh, go check out the upstairs. And it was like, this is a single story. And I'm like, you know what? I was looking at the next house I was going to show you guys. I'm so sorry. I'm just,
Out of it, yeah.
getting jumbled up here. So I try to save it, try to make a joke, do whatever I can. But I mean, that led to basically nothing. And I left that meeting, shook hands with everyone and said, it's great to meet you. Didn't feel like a great first meeting. Everything was just kind of jumbled up. I asked them if they wanted to go check out a couple of the new construction homes down the street. It was in Paris.
Okay.
And they were just like, no, we're good. And I was like, okay, like, why don't I, what's your plans for next weekend? Tried to do whatever I could to get a bam fam. Did my whole thing of like, okay, well, I'm going to pencil you in for this time. And he was just like, okay, sure. I went ahead and went to the new construction, did a video tour, sent it to him, never got a reply. So that's one of the ones that, just didn't work out great for me. They probably needed a Spanish speaking agent, but there were definitely things that I maybe could have done to be more prepared, even though it was a quick scheduled showing.
Right, last minute, yeah.
You're gonna get them now and then, and sometimes they're gonna work out and sometimes they're not. So that was one of the ones that I probably just dropped the ball on a little bit. That was more recent. And then I haven't really had much contact with the guy since.
Did you put him on like a property alert? Did you send him like follow-up texts, phone calls?
Yeah, he was on everything, set him up on a property alert, and just tried to follow up through texts and calls and just never really get a response. So I think I ended up handing it off back to Kathy and she sent it out to someone else.
Do you think that was like a direct result of your performance, or do you think just circumstance and the buyers weren't serious to begin with?
I don't know. I think a lot of times when it comes, I've never really had much luck with the language barrier stuff.
Right.
Usually if there's one person there who I can have a conversation with without them struggling to converse with me, I'll be okay. But it's really hard. I mean, how am I supposed to, get to know a client if I can't really talk to them?
Yeah.
I think that was the biggest challenge of that one. I mean, I've even had a deaf client where they'd spoken no words and we talked through my phone the whole meeting. So, and that worked out better than this. So, yeah, I think the language barrier is a big one for why that one failed.
If you could do that meeting again, what would have you done different?
I probably would have sent the seatbelt video. I didn't do that this time since it was short notice and I just didn't think of it. Sent them a video, at least let them know who they're going to meet ahead of time. And then definitely it would have helped if I could just go back and know that the seller wasn't going to be answering the door for 5 to 10 minutes. Definitely get I mean, I knew the access details. There was a combo on the door, but at the same time they said to knock and the seller will let me in. But I don't know if I could somehow get the door open sooner and not spend 10 minutes in the driveway trying to make conversation with people who don't speak English. It would have been a lot easier. I don't know. There's not much I feel like I could have changed about that one.
It doesn't sound like it. It doesn't sound like it.
Yeah, it was just kind of a series of unfortunate events on that one. And it's going to happen. I mean, it happens to everyone. So
Yep.
you just got to remember some will, some won't. So what? What's next?
That makes sense. And then another question I had are there any specific scripts that you really like to just that you've worked a lot on to perfect? Like scripts that you felt that really elevated you as a real estate agent and as just a leader in the presence of these clients?
Yeah, this one definitely, since we did it so much in the early days of joining the Zillow Flex program, was the initial calls that we would make to clients on the phone, the introductory call to Zillow, which we had to do. The phone calls used to come to us, so we were talking to the clients, not the ICAs. But just learning all that stuff about their motivation for buying a home, why they're looking in this area. So it's appointment, location, motivation. Learning all that and just really learning why they're there to purchase a home.
Right.
I wouldn't really say it's a script as much as it is just practicing interacting with people. We did it in the office constantly before every Wednesday meeting. We would go through the whole script of why they're looking for a house, what are they looking for, what is their motivation for buying a home. If you're just coming in to meet a person and you're looking at houses with them, they just see you as a door opener.
Right.
You want to learn about the clients. What brought you here today? Why are you looking for a new house? Why this area? If they have kids with them, ask them about the kids in school. Is that important to them? Obviously, they're going to say yes. So that was probably the biggest one. Doing the ALM, appointment, location, motivation. And just we did that repeatedly. So I think that helped a lot with not only over the phone talking to clients, but in person, figuring out why they want to buy a home.
Okay. When you are following your clients into a home, are you following them and asking questions while they're trying to look at the home, or do you do hey, when you guys are done looking, I'll meet you in the kitchen?
I do a pretty good mixture of the two. I'm doing more so now of the kitchen stuff. But it's worked successfully for me both ways. It also depends on the clients. If there's like 6 of them walking into the house and they're all going different directions, I typically try to stay with the husband and wife or whoever, husband and husband, whatever it is, the ones that are gonna buy the house. But I typically let them wander, let them know that I'm here if they have any questions. If I can't answer the questions on the spot, I will definitely find the answers out for them. Because I'm not going to know every little thing about the house. They always want to know, why are they selling the place? The questions that don't really matter, but everyone wants to know.
Okay.
But yeah, I'd say it's a good mixture of walking with them. If I can tell it's a good meeting and just from the jump and they feel comfortable with me, sometimes I'll walk around with them and just have a chat with them and kind of listen to what they're saying. I hardly ever talk while I'm in the house with them unless they've directly asked me a question or if they've now gone back and met me in the kitchen.
Okay. And it sounds like when you go for your BAM fam, it's usually when you guys are done looking at the home, Is that something you always do, or do you do it how we're kind of trained and try to do it before they go for the exit?
So on, say it again.
So you know how we're trained to like go for the bam fam before it's time to leave, like don't close them at the end because they're expecting it.
Right.
So at which point do you usually go in for that?
So depending on the number of homes, I now am constantly trying to do it while we're still inside of a house. And I'll still get the objections in there. So I still use the same method of whether I'm standing out in front of them in front of their car or inside the house. But I'm definitely trying to remember to do it while I'm still in the house and having that conversation with them, because it sucks when you lose that momentum of like you're having a great conversation about houses in the area. Oh, we can't get into this one today, but I actually scheduled it for us to see on Thursday. Let me know if that works for you. If not, I'm going to try to get another time for us.
Okay.
But just doing whatever you can to try to tell them that you've already almost set another appointment for this other house that you thought looked good for them. But if I can't do the bam fam in the house, or they're just rushing to get out, whatever it is, then I always still try to mention it at some point. And if they don't give me a solid yes or no, I just tell them like, look, I'm penciling you in for this time. If that doesn't work for you, just call, text me, but I'll check in with you and before that time. And if it doesn't work for you, let me know. But otherwise, I'll see you Saturday at 12.
How many attempts do you do of giving them the option before you give them the command that you're gonna do that?
They, if anything, they'll object once or twice, saying like, "Oh, we don't know our schedule yet," or "Oh, I got to check with my wife." Whatever it is, probably around 2 times, and then I just go, "Look, I get it. Everyone's busy. Um, I'm not even positive what my schedule is going to be looking like next weekend, but I know that I'm going to set this time aside for you, and then just let me know if that works, and then we go from there."
You
Just
got a pretty good success rate with that?
Yeah, it actually more often than not, I mean, not if you just leave it to like it's a week later and then you're like, "Hey, we're meeting tomorrow." It's that's almost never going to work. But
How many touches do you do to that next meeting?
I try to do at least a couple times throughout the week. It depends on their response rate. I don't want to feel like I'm bugging people, but I will just send them homes, text them, something that I came up on, in the real estate market, whatever, something about rates. It's all based off of the conversations I've had with them in the house. So if I know that they're worried about the interest rates and stuff like that, if we got a little recent drop in the rates, sometimes we'll just send them that and just kind of, it's one way to start a conversation again. But yeah, I do at least every couple days try to talk to them. I'm not I'm not real big on bombarding people day after day, sending them home. What do you think of this one? What do you think of this one? What do you think of this one? Some people like that, but I feel like most people don't respond well to that the way I've done it. So every couple days or so, I'll drop them a little nugget of knowledge or a house or something, just to try to get them excited about going out again for our scheduled appointment on Saturday at 12.
Just keeping real estate at top of mind for them pretty much, yeah?
Yeah, but also like, hey, started off with not just like dropping in to only talk real estate. I'll ask them how they're doing. How's the week been? Anything crazy going on in their life? People are just people. They just want to have a conversation sometimes. And I'll never forget this one time, when we used to have to answer the phones for Zillow, and I was having a conversation with some guy, and just before even asking for like, hey, like, we're going to see this house 12 o'clock tomorrow. Does that still work for you? Blah, blah, blah. I just would ask people, how's your day going? Ask them something that is not real estate related. And this guy was just like, wow, like that is a breath of fresh air. He's like, I've talked to like 4 of you real estate people, whether it was realtor.com or Zillow, whatever. And he's like, it's like talking to a bunch of robots. So, got to remember that these people are still people. They got crap going on in their lives. They sometimes just want to vent about something else other than real estate. They want to know that you're a person too.
Right.
But then always going back to real estate.
Hey, Blake, I have a question.
Yes.
Hi.
Hi.
Being prepared, before these appointments, having the printouts and the buyer's packet ready to go and stuff like that. But when you're on the road and you accept an appointment and you don't have the luxury of printing out and putting in these buyer packets, right? The black envelope, or excuse me, black folder. What do you do to prepare to be able to show them 3 properties, not only the one they want to see, but 2 others?
The quickest thing that I try to do is if I'm not using my laptop and I'm in the car, if I can just pull off somewhere, if I know I'm not going to be there late and I can, if I got the appointment now, I got to go straight there. If I'm still going to be 10 minutes early, 20 minutes early, whatever it is, I'll drive straight to the house, park out front and just get on my phone. But if I need like a quick 5 minutes, I'll just pull off somewhere and just pull up. I'm going to Redlands. I'll pull up Redlands homes up to X amount of price, depending on the one that they're looking at. So
Sure.
usually bump it up about 50K. And then I literally just start from the house that we're going to. I just start going outward from there, looking at houses that are vacant. So
Right.
if it says vacant on there, then I know I can get in. If not, I call the listing agent. Only if it's vacant. Like if it's something that I need to get into quickly, I will just, there's going to be some. So just search around for as many as you can, find 2 or 3 vacant ones. If it's lockbox,
Right.
call the agent. If it's Supra, you're good to go. So that's typically the easiest way to do it. But if not, yeah, sometimes there's just the shortage.
And you send those to the buyer in the text that, oh, I found some other
I
fantastic properties.
don't even tell them.
Okay.
I do that part when I'm in the house with them. So
Got it.
that comes to the kitchen conversation. Like if you don't already have 3 scheduled ahead of time with your client that you've already
Yeah.
told them about,
Yeah.
let them look at the house. While they're doing that, try to find a few more on your phone, whatever it is on your laptop. Say, hey, this house is crap. Let's go find. I found a couple other ones that are down the
Right.
street or in the area. They're vacant. We can get in right now. It's 5 minutes away. Let's go check it out.
Okay.
Most of the time they say okay. Sometimes they'll just be like, no, I got to run. But more often than not, they're going to be willing to see a few more houses with you. They're already out. They probably came from a different area. Who knows?
Right.
But that's typically how I do it. Just try to
Okay.
find good ones.
Well, the protocol calls for when you first get the lead is you want to send out that first text, right?
Right.
And your Zillow profile.
Yeah.
And then the second text, you're supposed to send them out some other properties. Hey, I found these other fantastic properties. We can take a look at these too. So is it okay that I send those on a second text, the ones that I'm actually looking like I pulled over, I saw some more, I'm going to send these to you. I found some other fantastic properties that we can go take a look at because that's part of the protocol, right?
So sending them to their properties right off the bat, if it's a short meeting, I typically don't. I wait to do it in person just because I
Got
feel
it.
like they're more likely to see other houses with me once they've met me.
Got it.
If it's a scheduled meeting and you're now, going to be texting the client for a couple days and you've already preempted that you're going to see 2 or 3 homes with them, then yeah, for sure. Send them the houses. Say, we're going to, I found these 2.
Right.
What do you think about them? And then you can get them scheduled ahead of time. But for those short notice meetings, I typically like to wait to do it in person to say, look, I found some other great homes, and they're more likely, they don't know you at this point. So until they've met you and you've built a quick relationship with them in that first house, I've had a better success rate of showing them more houses
Okay.
after meeting them and being like, check it out. I found
So you would have to skip that second protocol text.
Yeah, well, I send them the house that we're gonna see, but if you're
Sure.
driving, there's nothing you can do. You're not gonna, can't really drive and look at homes.
Sure.
Yes, you can pull off and search some houses and stuff.
Got
and
it.
Try to do that, but if they're more likely to do more showings with you if they know.
Okay.
But if it's scheduled ahead of time, yes, always
Okay. Right.
send some other
Thanks.
one. But
Thank
yeah,
you.
I mean, it could work out both ways. If you want to pull off, find some other houses. Depends on, you got to listen to the call too. The call with the ICA. If they
Yep.
sound like a crabby person, they're like, just like, nope, I only want to see one house. Then
Yep.
definitely don't send them other ones. But
Yep.
just do it in the house. Do it in person.
Yeah. If there's a recording, sometimes there are RTTs, sometimes
Yeah, exactly.
you can't listen to, and I'm learning all that now, so, okay, thanks.
Yeah, no problem. Michael,
Yeah,
you
ask
coming in
another
again?
question. Hello?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right, cool. So, your most successful 3 to 6 month stretch where you sold the most, closed the most escrows,
what did your schedule look like at that time? How were your days structured, and what were you doing at that moment where you were like, damn, dude, those 6 months I kicked ass, but it was well worth it?
Yeah, so that was probably the end of last year to the beginning of this year. Um, Closed a huge property last year in Palm Springs. So it was like 2.3 million.
Hold on.
And then before that was a little one in Paris, like 500,000. And then leading into the new year, I closed 7 in the first quarter.
Wow.
So it was a busy November, December for me, when most other people were kind of just getting ready for Christmas and all that, which I still did. I still had a great time with my family and all that, but I was definitely showing a ton. Um, my my schedule was slammed. I was gone constantly. I was everywhere. I mean, I show everywhere. I'm out in the desert. I'm in Hemet, Paris, San Diego. So my schedule was slammed and it was taxing. It was tiring. Um, but it led to a lot of closed escrows and it started me great off for the new year. Um, when a lot of, a lot of other people were just kind of slowing down for those holiday months. I think that's the time to shine. Just get out there. That's when other agents have their time block and everything like that. Which, I mean, nothing wrong with that. Spend time with your family, do your things, but that's when I kicked it into gear. I got a bunch of stuff lined up to close for the new year in December, and then not even stuff to close, but just met a bunch of new clients, and then that led to closings within the next 2-3 months. So, um, schedule wise and all that, it was busy. I was showing pretty much, I would say, 5 days a week,
Wow.
and on those off days, they're not really off days. You're always talking to someone and come into the office and just sit down, get a quiet space, and just get to work.
So when you say get to work, were you just following up with your leads and taking on new leads, or were you making phone calls? Where did these leads come from that allowed you to do such volume?
I think every one of these still came from Zillow at this point. I don't think any of them were Opcity. I think we were already done with Opcity at that point. Yeah, I think all of them were Zillows. But yeah, just the same old song and dance, just following up with everyone. I wasn't really letting anyone slip through the cracks, which, it still happens from time to time. But that's, yeah, come into the office, sit down, close the door, get in one of the booths and just send properties, call people that you feel like may be slipping away if you haven't talked to them for a week or so, and just don't get to that point of being able to drop the ball. Just keep it engaged.
Right on.
Yeah.
What would your advice be to, because there's some new agents on here. I can see the participants' names. What advice would you give some of these new agents that want to lock in 2 to 4 escrows a month just to get things rolling? Like, what would you want? What would you want them? What would you want to see them doing on a daily basis if you were their coach, or if you were their, like their broker? Like, what would you like have to be like, yo, Michael, if you want 2 to 4 escrows a month, dude, you better be doing this between Monday to Sunday. Like, how would that look? What advice would you give?
How many clients are you taking? I'm speaking to you directly. How
Okay.
many days a week are you showing now?
So I'm showing anytime I get a lead close to me, I'm showing between, I want to say, 3 to 8 clients, depending on how generous the ICAs are being for that week. Every lead I get, I show up, I'm early, I do my song and dance. I drop the ball every now and again. But yeah, every chance I get, dude. Every
Okay,
chance
that's
if they say yes, I'm on it. There's not a week that goes by that I haven't shown at least 4 times.
okay. That's great. So that's definitely step one, is just show as many people as possible. The more clients you get into your database, the higher your success is. I mean, it's just a numbers game at that point. Um, so, but into that goes with making phone calls, following up with past leads while still maintaining a relationship with these brand new leads, trying not to drop the ball. It's just a constant cycle of reaching out to old clients, keeping the new ones engaged, trying to re-engage with the old ones, and just make phone calls to get the 50 leads list, or talk to Jenny, get a list of clients that are in past due status and haven't had anyone talk to them, but they're looking at homes. I don't know, just grab a list, grab clients, call as many people as you can, and just try to set appointments. The more appointments you go on, the higher success chance you're going to have of closing them.
Okay, great. And how do you keep track of all these clients? I mean, you've been doing it for, some time now. And to be honest with you, dude, sometimes I get like 5 or 6 clients. That shit becomes a blur. Like
Yeah,
I
no,
can't.
no, trust me, I'm not perfect at it either. Like I said, one of my biggest things is struggling to keep my notes up to date, and that's definitely where I drop the ball the most. I sometimes I'll grab 4 or 5 new clients a week, and then it's just crap. I forgot about Susie. I forgot about this person because you're so focused on the next when really you need to be focused on the next at the same time, or at the same time of focusing on the ones that you're getting or that you already got. So staying on top of it is just using Lofty, setting those property alerts, set them up on some kind of email drip that's going to update them with market news. They don't, half the time these clients don't know that you're not the one manually sending them the homes. In fact,
Right.
people being like, wow, you are really on top of it, sending us all these houses every day. And I'm like, yep, I got you.
That's right.
But yeah, use Lofty to your advantage. It's the easiest way. Use the AI and Lofty to your advantage. Anna, she talks like she's you sometimes, or she's your assistant. And I will, or sorry, she talks as your assistant, and you can actually go in there and type for Anna. So if you've got clients that you feel like maybe ghosting you, or don't feel like you made a great connection with, use your assistant Anna and just speak to the client through Lofty as Anna. I've done that a number of times to where, like, how are things going with Blake? Do you feel like he could have improved in these, on anything while showing you the homes? Did you feel like he was, do you feel like he's a good agent to help you purchase? I don't know, just whatever you can think of.
Right.
But use Anna to your advantage, and also she can be a disadvantage. Just mute her if she's bugging clients and it's not someone who's tech savvy and they don't want to constantly be reached out to.
Right.
Lofty is definitely it's a super helpful tool. So
How
use
do you
that.
change that? How do you change that?
How do you change it?
Yeah, how do you change the AI, Anna or Ann? What
Well,
she's asking the buyers when
you
she's
just are you just trying to mute her?
no, how do you change what she's asking, like you
Oh
just
no,
said?
I'm saying that I go in and type as Anna. So if I'm type, you can choose who you're talking to the client through,
Yeah.
and just use it as the AI assistant, and you can continue talking with them. So if she's looking,
Okay.
because a lot of times she'll drop the ball with, like, she'll get the client re-engaged and chatting with you, but then you'll see that she's just like, great, I'll have you reach out to this person, and the client asks, like, what's the median home price in this area, and she won't know the answer, so she'll just defer the conversation to your cell phone. So if you can catch it when she's talking to a client, just jump in and try to segue the conversation to your benefit.
So how do you constantly see those conversations between the AI and the buyer?
That's the hard part. So if
Yeah.
it's you got to just kind of be watching it. Like that's the time when you're in the office, and sometimes she'll
Every
just be,
day you've got to look, period.
yeah. So if, like,
It'll say Lofty, have a little circle, say 1 or 2, because somebody's either asked for a meeting, open house, or they've asked for something. And if you're not looking every day, you could miss an opportunity.
yeah. So just trying to stay on top of it as much as you can.
Got it. Got it.
Chats that they're having with Anna. Sometimes you'll catch it at the sweet spot and you could jump in. Other times, just, I don't know, if you already know she's chatting with someone and she's dropped your number in there, that's a perfect time for you to just text them from your number.
So you've been doing this a long time, right? Like,
Not
so
a
let
long
me ask
time.
you this, there's a lot to digest, and I'm an older guy, and tech savvy is not my strong point, but I'm certainly trying to learn, right? And catching on it just has to be repetitive for me. But you've been doing this, you're a young guy, and what challenges do you have still, the things that you do as an experienced agent?
Like I mentioned already, my note keeping and maintaining constant engagement with clients,
Yep.
depending on the client. Sometimes it's super easy. Sometimes they make it easy. It's the ones that make it hard that I drop the ball with. And,
Yep.
I don't send them enough engagement. I don't send them enough houses. I just get in my own head and go, they don't want to work with me. They probably not going to buy a house, and I shoot
Right.
myself in the foot. So that's something that I constantly am trying to work on.
Yeah.
I think I'm getting a little better at it day to day, but at the same time, like, sometimes it'll be a busy week and I don't do updates and I don't follow up people. And then sure enough, it's just,
Yeah.
it's the client. So yeah, that's definitely something that I struggle with the most is just
Yeah. I
getting,
think we all do. That's what I struggle with too.
like Michael said, if you get 4 or 5 people in a week, it's hard to keep all 5 of those people like excited to go show homes. You're working with your own schedule and they're working with theirs. They all want to see homes on Saturday. I don't know. It's just, you gotta pick and choose the thick and the thin sandwiches at that point. And then then
Got it.
you give a little more time to the thick ones while still trying to keep the thin ones engaged with
Got it.
whatever you can.
Got it. All right. Thanks.
Hey, Blake, how do you make a thin sandwich not feel like they're a thin sandwich to you?
That is a great question. I'll let you know when I have an answer for that one. No,
So
I don't know. You just got to make people feel like, even though if they know, just don't let them know. Like, don't let them know that you think that they're not worth your time. You still got to treat everyone, like I said earlier, treat them like everyone's a buyer and just let them know, just be genuine. If they can tell that if they're not looking, if they're not looking to buy for another 3 months or something and they feel your disengagement, I don't know, then they probably see you as someone who's just commission hungry and who wants something right here, right now. So try to just be genuine. Let them know that you're here to help them. When they are ready to go see homes, you'll be ready at the same time. You're just give them that constant reassurance that you're the agent for them and that you're going to help them when the time has come, when the time is right.
So I felt like you pointed that out great because you said that disengagement. I have moments where I feel like I kind of disengaged and then the client picked it up because you're kind of in tune. We're on the same level. We're both excited. We're doing this stuff. And it's like a relationship.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, you're dating a girl or something. Then it comes to a certain point where you're like, I'm not really interested in her, or she's not really interested in you. And then you kind of feel that fall off, right? And you're like, what do you do?
Right.
What do you
Right.
do?
So yeah, I don't know. It's that that balancing act of like, you can't spend so much time with the people who aren't looking for a house for 6 months.
Right.
But like I said, just let them know that you are there when they are ready and just keep doing. I mean, even if it's just a property alert, something to keep them engaged, send them a text every week.
Just touch base
Something.
with them, let
Just
them know,
like,
hey, still
yeah.
thinking about you guys, right?
What's that?
Just kind of let them know, hey, I'm still thinking about you guys, right?
Exactly. Yeah. And yeah, I mean, you can use those words. Hey, saw this house today. I thought about you guys. I know you're not quite ready yet, but this looks like it could be something that would work for you guys. Is your timeline still 6 months, or do you think we could bump that up a little bit? I don't know. Do anything you can to try and maybe get them a little more engaged and excited to purchase a home. Why are they waiting 6 months? If it comes down to like a credit thing or whatever, let them know we have ways to repair their credit faster. It all comes down. There's so many reasons that you can lead a conversation back to them ready now. So
Hey, oh, sorry, my bad, my bad.
no, you're
Go
good.
ahead, Garland. You got it.
Hey, have you noticed a different response with text and calls? Because typically I'm a person who likes to text and not call because of fear, whatever. I'm trying to get over that. But do people receive it the same?
I feel like not so much anymore. Calls are like, people are like afraid to make calls now. Not even us, but like just
Yeah.
people. No one answers their phone anymore because there's so much spam calls and so many things. If the person hasn't saved your number, they're probably not going to answer it. I typically always lead with a text.
Okay.
And if they don't answer the text, I'll try and shoot them a call. But I almost always text first and just let them know, like, hey, or schedule a phone call appointment if you'd rather chat on the phone. But just like direct calls now without any pretext is kind of like almost get no one to answer unless they're, a little older than
Yeah.
people who are, not the young people. They like to answer phone calls more. They don't like the text. I have some clients who I've like never spoken to through text. They only call or email. So
Yeah. Also, like, let's say if you have a client that said that they were, you showed them places about 3 rounds. You feel like you have a good bond. They said something happened to their parents in another country, so they were going to be out of town for 3 or 4 weeks. I don't want to be insensitive and just say like, hey, are you ready to search again? How would you start that conversation over?
You're saying when they get back from that 3 weeks?
Yeah, and also you're not exactly sure on what date.
So, well, the question you're asking is how to get them re-engaged to go see homes again?
Yeah,
So
correct.
during that 3 week period, are they unreceptive?
The last time I texted them, they said, hey, we're out of town for 4 weeks. That's it.
Okay. And then now are they back?
I don't know how to re-engage. And I don't want to do it the wrong way and totally I don't want to be insensitive. I want to give them time, but then also I don't want to lose them to another person.
Just be you, Garland. Just reach out to them, say, hey, I know you guys, you said you were gone for 3 or 4 weeks, something like that. That was 3 weeks ago, however long it may have been.
Yeah.
Just wanted to check in. I was thinking about you guys. I saw a couple great homes in your area. I wanted to send them over to you and see what you guys thought. And that way
Perfect.
you're at least just re-engaging without saying, hey, let's go out and see homes tomorrow. I know you're back.
Okay.
It's just a kind of a soft opening. If they say we're still gone, say, great, these homes may or may not still be here. Would you like me to video tour these houses for you on your behalf while you're gone? Or
Mhm.
would you like to wait until you get back to see them in person? Hopefully they're still on the market.
Thank you.
Yeah, for sure. Everyone good?
Like, do you work the 50 leads?
I don't right now. I am in the program, but I have not started doing the 50 lead thing yet.
But when you were working at 50 leads, I know we were talking about some people prefer text than phone calls. Do you call them first or you send texts?
Typically I'll try to call first if I'm just doing a list of people that I'm calling. If I have a whole list of clients and I want to get through it quickly, I typically just call everyone twice, see who answers. If not, send them a text after the call.
Got it.
You've got your times when you're in the office, just make the calls. Yeah, I don't know. It just seems to work faster that way in a sense, but
Right.
do your calls. Calling helps a lot of times too. I mean, it's not like you can't call people. I just know
Right.
a lot of people now do prefer text, but at the same time, it's one way or the other. Text them first, call them first, whatever, but just do both.
Yeah, I noticed that when you try to call them, they go straight to voicemail, right?
A lot of times, yeah. Or it'll
A
ring once,
lot
they
of
know the
times.
number, they hang up, goes to voicemail. And then
Yep.
half the people haven't set up voicemails nowadays. So you can't even leave them a voicemail. They say
Yep.
don't leave them a voicemail anyways, but call them twice. Call if the phone rings, let it ring twice, hang up, call back. And then they're more inclined to answer on that second call.
Okay, that's a good technique. All right.
Because if they see a number calling at the same time in the span of like 1 minute, some tricks your brain into thinking that it's something important and you might want to answer it. So try that. Seems to work.
So call them and let it ring twice, hang up, and then call back.
Right.
Okay.
Don't leave
All
voice.
right.
If they don't answer, try again in an hour. If you're not sending any text that day and you're strictly doing calls, do that whole method and then mark down, call twice, call back in an hour.
Right.
Yeah. Another thing that I struggle with is just calling tons of leads that we need to call. I
Right.
haven't
Okay.
done that in a while. So
Got it.
something that I need to get back on.
Right. Okay. Thanks.
Yeah. All right, guys. Is everyone good? I hope I helped.
Big
I hope
time.
I helped in some way today.
Thank you,
You've
Blake.
been great.
That's awesome.
Thank you.
You helped a lot, Blake. Thank you.
I appreciate it.
You're awesome.
This was last minute for me, so hopefully you guys got some nuggets in there that you can use. Please feel free to hit me up on Slack, or if you have my number, text me if you have any other questions or just want like
Great.
little nuggets here and there. Hopefully I can help you out in some other ways.
Thank you. Hope
Thank
to meet
you.
you soon.
Blake,
Can you
Thanks, Blake.
put your number in the group chat?